Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Diabolical series. So, as you guys know, a lot of the Exoticals are really out here searching these internet streets and they're sharing all of the tea over in the Discord. So, be sure to join the Patreon if you want access to the Discord. That's where we spill all the tea, that's where we give all of our intel. But I want to talk about the psychology of a person who practices fantasy identity and delusional self branding. Also, the types of women that use status inflation as a trauma response. Because I've noticed that a lot of people, they try to accuse us exoticals of doing that. They'll be like, oh, well, you're not as pretty as you think you are. Oh, well, you're not perfect, so therefore you're not qualified to talk about pretty privilege. Oh, well, you're not even that light skinned. Oh, well, you're not even white passing, so you don't qualify. Okay, let's talk about what delusional self-branding really is. Because I've noticed that some people, they like to construct this fantasy version of themselves and they construct a fantasy version of their life as a defense mechanism. So have you ever noticed, and by the way, I'm going to be using YouTuber Blunt Girly as an example of this. Did you notice how as soon as she began turning on the Exoticals, she started suddenly talking about how she's got a wealthy, high-value biracial husband? So before, she was referring to this guy as her boo or her man. So that's a form of status inflation. So she feels like marriage to a high value man is a status symbol. So she's doing that as a defense mechanism. A lot of times when women don't feel desirable or chosen, they will try to use their significant other as a way to flex on people. But I wanted to actually pull up some photos from Blunt Girly's channel. She has a video where she's talking about, kind of like a day in her life or like a vlog of how soft her life is after starting a war on YouTube. So she's essentially celebrating, I guess, denigrating the Exoticals. And so the first thing that she pictures is a little bucket of sushi. It's a little plate of sushi on what appears to be a very cheap wooden table. And then I see that there's someone sitting across the table from her. It appears to be maybe a man sitting across with maybe like a shirt off. And it appears like there's some sort of emoji kind of covering up the man. So I'm not here to accuse anyone of anything. I'm not going to say whether her man's racial background is biracial or not. We all know that there can be people of all different skin tones who have a biracial background. But for someone who promotes this concept of the soft life, and for someone who bragged about, and I quote, she said that she is around millionaires and billionaires, and that she grew up in kind of this luxurious lifestyle. This is according to her own talking points. This is according to her own community post. She talks about being around cultures of millionaires and billionaires, and how she is living kind of this affluent lifestyle. So the only thing I'm doing is I'm just pulling up images that she has shared, and I'm just questioning, why would a billionaire... I'm sorry, I'm trying to take this seriously. I'm just curious as to why a billionaire would be sitting at a table that appears to be very inexpensive. Then if you look, you can see that there's something hanging off of the sides here. You can see there are two pieces of cloth hanging off the side. So I don't know if that's like a piece of clothing that someone is wearing. I don't know if that's a shirt that someone is wearing. But clearly she wanted to cover something up with that emoji. That could actually just be a chair and a curtain. I don't know. It may not even be a person. It may be the shape of a chair. So I'm not going to make any assumptions there. Let's go ahead and head over to another soft, luxurious lifestyle of someone that comes from a multi-million-dollar and billion-dollar cultural background. So here we have a picture of some yummy California rolls sitting on top of a paper bag. And it appears that there's either a plastic bag or a garbage bag next to that. So again, do you think this is the average lifestyle of a billionaire? Do you think that Blunt Girly's high-value biracial husband would have her eating her meals like this? Just kind of in the back of an Uber on the go, or, sitting in the passenger seat of a car, just trying to eat on the go, trying to hurry up. So not even having time to really enjoy your food, or maybe trying to hurry up and get a quick snapshot in hopes that you can share some content so you can keep up almost like this status inflation. And again, I'm not accusing her of anything. Billionaires are not a monolith. So, hey, maybe they do eat their sushi like this. I wouldn't know. I'm not a billionaire. So let's go ahead and head over to the next photo where this content creator is talking about all of the cool stuff that she got over at Bath and Body Works. I love Bath and Body Works, but if you just take a look at the background, I guess I'm just questioning, do billionaires usually put their stuff on the floor, or like, is this, if you zoom in to the corner where there's a piece of the wall, you can actually see the wood chipping off of the bottom of the wall. So I'm curious as to whether billionaires live like this. I mean, who knows? Maybe she's a minimalist multimillionaire. I don't know. Maybe have any of you guys ever heard her talk about minimalism? That could be a thing. Again, rich people are not a monolith. But if you look to the background a little bit further, you can also see that there appears to be some sort of plastic container with like maybe a Target bag in it, or like a random plastic bag in it, as if it's some sort of, maybe people are moving, maybe people are organizing. But let's go ahead and head over to the next image. So this is an image of a YSL bag. YSL is awesome. I love YSL. I don't have anything from YSL because I tend to just not shop there. I'm actually not a big designer bag person, believe it or not. But I want to talk a little bit about fantasy identity. And I'm not even going to I'm not going to say that she guaranteed has a fantasy identity, because technically I don't know. We don't know each other in real life. But I am going to be using this as an example. So sometimes what people will do is, when they don't feel powerful, respected, or admired in real life outside of the internet, they will build a persona that they can control. And so sometimes people will carry fake designer bags so that they can show that they are wealthy and classy. Oh, and by the way, as far as this picture of the YSL bag, so you can get YSL bags from this place called The Real Real. That's where you get kind of like secondhand consignment bags. You can get it for around $700 or so, especially if you have a credit card with a high limit on it. But I decided to go ahead and run this photo through my friend, ChatGPT. So I said, if you had to guess from this photo alone, does this look authentic or like the replicas that are often sold in California around the area of like the swap meet, or you know how they have those street vendors, for those of you who are from the West Coast, or if you've lived on the West Coast, you know that they have like street vendors that are selling very high quality, nice replica bags. And by the way, I fully support, hey, if you want to get a good replica, have at it. But I asked ChatGPT if it had to guess simply based off of this photo of a black, what appears to be a slightly bulky looking YSL bag with a random black square next to it. It's supposed to look like maybe those little coin purses that come with the bags. We all know, if you've been to California, or if you've been to any of those shopping areas, like in California or in New York, they have them in major cities where they'll have people on the street who make these replica bags. But ChatGPT says this bag leans more towards a replica than authentic. Likely a high-quality dupe or something similar to what's sold at California swap meets or street vendors. The puffiness, chain finish, and lack of hardware details make it look just slightly off from a real Saint Laurent piece. If you want confirmation, you could share photos of the interior branding and serial number, look at the zipper engraving, or show it to a consignment shop like The Real Real or Fashion Pile. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is just an example of the type of psychology behind someone that wants to be perceived a certain way. They want to be perceived as high value, high status. Oh, I'm around millionaires and billionaires, and I have a high value biracial husband who loves me, and he's so high quality. People who have this mindset, and people who go out of their way and they're willing to try to show certain aspects of their personal life in order to prove to others how valuable they are, people like this are usually triggered by others who embody real beauty and power or authenticity. Okay, especially if you're the type of woman who is actually living the lifestyle that they pretend to live. Have you ever noticed that women who do this type of behavior, they tend to get mad at women who are confident and strategic? Because let's think about this for a moment here. If a woman truly has pretty privilege, if a woman is truly happy with her own lifestyle, if she's happy with her own relationships and her own beauty, why would she get mad at random women on YouTube creating pretty privileged content? why would she be upset at random women decentering men? So a lot of people, they get upset at the exotical space, especially because a lot of us are anonymous. So people are threatened when you're rising and you're not exposing yourself. Like a lot of us over here, we don't have to prove ourselves. We don't have to dox ourselves in order to prove that we're light skinned. You know, we don't have to dox certain aspects of our personal life in order to prove that we're mixed race or in order to prove that we're pretty. Not once have you seen me come onto this channel and try to drop photos of, you know, what kind of designer bags I have. And, oh, let me try to bring a man onto my YouTube video so I can prove to you guys that I have a man because I want to show you that I'm living a better life than you. Do you genuinely think that multimillionaires and billionaires have time to do things like that? And by the way, there's actually nothing wrong with being poor. A lot of people struggle with poverty. There are some people who are from the hood. I told you guys that I've actually lived in the hood before by choice as an adult, and I'm not ashamed to say that. But have you ever noticed that there are people who, whenever they mention like a high value man, oftentimes it's not about love. It's about using that man as proof that they are valuable. But then, if their lifestyle doesn't even align with that, so there are no trips, no gifts, no real luxury, usually it's just a situationship with someone who tolerates them. That's why in a lot of cases you never see these relationship gurus actually bring their spouse on the live. And you're never going to hear that man say, hey, my name is so and so. I'm a protector and provider. I pay all the bills for this woman and I love her so much. And this is how we met. This is how we got together. You're not going to hear a lot of them come on and say stuff like that. Because a lot of times these content creators, especially ones who berate their own subscribers, they're really just living this life that is kind of like made up. It's a made up or it's an exaggerated narrative. So it's hilarious how the same people that accuse the Exoticals of using our relationships as clout, or they accuse us of using our phenotypes as clout. These are the same people who try to brand themselves as being hyper wealthy and, you know, so classy. Meanwhile, they're showing pictures of when they just went shopping. They're showing all their shopping items on the floor with a cracked door panel and a cracked wall in the background in a dark room, as if we're supposed to somehow believe that this is the pinnacle of elegance. Let's take a look at some of the talking points that we see from YouTuber Blunt Girly.
Lying about that. Oh, sorry, girl. I'll just leave.
You look pretty.
Oh, thank you. Hey members, so you guys know I always give you just random videos, but I like to try to make it as exclusive and personal as possible. You know, just random everything, a little bit of everything. So sometimes I'll like stop by, like I did a supplement video and just talked about this supplement that I was taking and my experience with it. Okay, so this video I'm going to be talking about makeup, honey, makeups. I realize like now that I'm slim, I kind of want to just experiment with different makeup styles and try to find my look. This makeup look right here, this eyeshadow look, actually right here, this gets me this exact look. This is exactly how I do it. The winged eyeliner and all, with the eyelashes and all.
Okay, so let's pause it right here. Notice how in Blunt Girly's YouTube video, she is utilizing a light-skinned or racially ambiguous woman as the standard for beautiful makeup. So this actually aligns with my talking point that we are the standard of beauty and we're also the standard of living. Because it's like, okay, out of all of the people on YouTube, you couldn't find not one unambiguous dark-skinned black woman who can do makeup just as good as what's seen in the photo.
Get the most attention, the most compliments, okay? That's why I think I'm going to show you guys. I was literally recording and I got this on recording of a girl telling me I look pretty. But even besides,
also, her saying that she got it on recording of a girl telling her she looked pretty. Think about a woman who is truly pretty privileged. Think about a woman who gets compliments on her beauty every day. Do you think that she would go out of her way to tell her audience, hey, I got a recording of somebody saying I'm pretty? Do you really think that a woman who is truly secure in her beauty feels that much of a need to prove herself to her audience? So this is what I'm talking about when I say that some people, they are trying to inflate their status. So it's a form of status inflation as a trauma response. So usually women who feel like they are not pretty, because in the case of Blunt Girly, she was triggered by my medium ugly video. Notice how now she's saying, "Hey, just so you guys know, I have a recording of someone calling me pretty." Do you see the coping mechanism there?
Besides that, it's like all day long. Every time I do my makeup like this, I get random strangers complimenting me, telling me that, oh my God, you're so beautiful. You're so pretty. Oh, you're so cute. And yes, all throughout the day. I don't know what it is. I think it just really makes my eyes like pop. So I'm gonna play an audio actually. I was recording earlier and a girl literally told me I was pretty in my recording. You can't make this up. I think that was the final straw. I was like, okay, I gotta talk about this makeup look because it's this makeup look. So I'm just gonna play the audio from earlier. Ignoring that, skipping past it, or straight up saying that I'm lying about that. Oh, sorry, girl. I'll just leave. You look pretty. Oh, thank you.
So notice how within the first 2 minutes of her video, she had to play a recording twice of someone calling her pretty so that she could prove to her audience that she's pretty. If someone truly wanted to prove that they are pretty, why be anonymous? Notice how, like in my case, I'm an anonymous creator myself, but I don't feel the need to prove to others that I'm pretty. I don't dox myself to try to prove who I am. I let other people think whatever they want about me. I let people think I'm ugly. I let people pull up pictures and think that it's me and make up all of these scenarios about me because I don't feel the need to actually prove myself because other people's opinions don't define me. But notice the external locus of control. Oh, I need somebody else to be on a recording so that I can validate myself in front of my audience. But it's like if your audience truly loves you and they truly support you, you don't have to prove yourself to them because they're going to continue supporting you anyway, right? And by the way, she has lost, I think people said it was 600 subscribers or something over the past couple of weeks, but let's continue.
How I came across this makeup look was I really like how the girls in like back then did their makeup. So like the 90s, the early 2000s. I liked how they had a very like soft, subtle, but still feminine type of look. So I was experimenting. If you checked out my other vlog, you know I got some lip gloss too. Like I like the light pink lip look that they used to also do. So I've been really into 90s and early 2000s makeup looks because I just
Also, she calls this look soft and subtle. This is actually more of a glam makeup look. This is more like bridal makeup almost. You got the smoky eye with I can see three colors on the eyeshadow alone. I see some glitter on the eyeshadow. I see a winged liquid eyeliner and a full what appears to be mink eyelashes, as well as groomed and shaped, perfectly lined eyebrows. So that's not subtle. That's actually more of a glam makeup look. So if she's calling this subtle, what does she consider to be like even more glamorous than this? Because this looks pretty professional to me.
just feel like when you really think about it, they really ate down.
And also notice how in her videos that we talked about last week, she was kind of denigrating women who are wearing like lashes and wearing makeup. Meanwhile, on her members page, she's saying, "Oh, I get the most compliments when I wear lashes and makeup." And I even got a recording of someone saying I'm pretty.
Like nowadays, I talked about it. The current makeup, the birthday makeup, it's too extreme. It looks masculine. It's too harsh. I love the softness of the makeup on the girls back in the day, so I like to try to imitate that. My beauty standard is women.
And also, she says that she likes the makeup style of the girls back in the day. So, like the early 2000s, this makeup look here is actually not an early 2000s makeup look. This is actually more of a 2010s makeup look. I'm thinking more of a 2015, almost like a 2020 makeup look, kind of like the smoky eye with the cat eyeliner. So that's not even an early 2000s look. So she's actually contradicting herself and she's revealing the fact that she actually does not have a lot of makeup knowledge in her own video. But remember, this is the same girl who just a couple weeks ago said that she is an expert on skincare. Remember, she says that she is an expert on that. She knows about dermatology. She said that she's around millionaires, she's around billionaires. She has grown up around a lot of white people. I don't know why it's a bragging right to say you grew up around white people, but now she is also extremely knowledgeable about makeup, but she's calling this an early 2000s Y2K makeup look. I'm going to put up some photos of actual 90s and Y2K makeup so you guys can see the difference.
Women back in the day. I love everything about how things were back in the day. I like the bluntness. I like how most women were in shape at that time. Like everybody being fat now, that's a new thing. Back then, women were on top of their femininity. So for femininity inspo, I look back then for that. Okay, I don't really look at girls today for femininity inspo. Okay, so I was experimenting with a bunch of makeup looks from that time, and I noticed that this type of look was kind of popular back then. Basically, I noticed that the common theme in the makeup on the girlies that were the it girls back then, they would do a very frosty eye look and then have the dark contrast on the outside. OMG, game changer. It makes your eyes pop. I kept looking at them. I'm like, oh my gosh, she looks gorgeous. So yeah, it's that frosty girl. I'm trying to tell you that frosty tan and yeah. Now, I don't want to look outdated, so I feel like this on the screen is the modern version. This is actually
Okay, notice how she says that she doesn't want to look outdated. So which one is it? She starts off by saying that the 90s and 2000s, they basically look the best in terms of makeup. And then seconds later, she's saying, "Oh, actually I don't want to look outdated." So I'm very curious as to what decade of makeup she considers to be outdated because last time I checked, if a woman is pretty privileged, she could wear makeup. She could do a 70s look. She could do a 60s look, kind of like a hipster, hippie look. She can do a 90s or 2000s look and still have her pretty privilege. So I find it interesting that a woman who claims to have so much pretty privilege, she's in a millionaire and billionaire lifestyle. Now she's saying she doesn't want to look outdated. Why would someone with access to multi millions of dollars who's married to a high value, wealthy, biracial provider man, why would that type of woman even worry about looking outdated? Especially if she has access to professional makeup artists in her everyday life, seeing as she's wealthy.
how I did my eyes. So yeah, I noticed too their eyeshadow back then was always soft. Nobody did harsh, exaggerated eyeshadow. And yep, I was right. This is why the ladies back then were the epitome of beauty. When you think of beauty icons, a lot of them come from the 90s, the early 2000s, because the girls just knew what they were doing. And I've hacked the
I also wanted to point out that she said the beauty icons mainly come from the 90s and 2000s. Not only is that false, but even if it were true, a lot of exoticals were actually very popular in the 90s and early 2000s, especially if you think about hip hop culture, music culture, a lot of women that were doing like modeling and acting. Those were actually exoticals. But let's continue.
system every single time, like clockwork, when I do my eyeshadow like this. I get so much pretty privilege when I'm out. Um, so yeah, that's why I just came here. You'll see me. I think I'll do another video on like hairstyles, like my favorite hairstyles that gets me like the most attention. I make these videos to help the girls out that are like interested in, I don't know, looks maxing and increasing their privileges in society.
I also find it interesting that she talks crap about the exotical space and how we talk about pretty privilege and increasing our privileges. In fact, I even created a term called privilege stacking, but then on her YouTube channel, she's talking about doing the same thing. So, do you see the hypocrisy?
Well, girl, this is the look. Even, oh yeah, let's talk about my boo, my bookie, right? Even he be shocked. It's like, bro, you see me every day. And even today, I walked in. I told you guys the story when I the funny story time, right, on my community tab, whatever. But even today, I like walked inside, and I got oxtails and stuff like that. And I walked in the house, and even my man was blown away. He was so blown away. He was like, "OMG, you look so beautiful. You look so pretty." And he was just fawning over me pretty much all day. And he recorded me several times.
Wait a minute. But if you truly have the pretty privilege and the face card all the time, why would your significant other be shocked? when you put on the makeup. I mean, why would he be shocked as if you're almost unrecognizable or you kind of look like a different person? Like, why would your significant other be so shocked and then suddenly recording you? If anything, that just tells me that you look a lot different without that type of makeup on and that it requires that amount of makeup for you to receive princess treatment from your spouse. Also, I do not believe that Blunt Girly has a high value biracial husband. But it's like if she does, let's say that she has a high value billionaire biracial husband. Wouldn't your spouse see you in makeup all the time, seeing as you guys live a luxury lifestyle and you have lots of millionaire and billionaire events to go to? So why would your spouse be shocked and like recording you? If somebody is so shocked to the point where they want to take pictures and record you, that implies that it's a special occasion. So that implies that you would only wear makeup during those special occasions. And so, why is you wearing makeup and going to get takeout oxtails? Why would that be a special occasion if you're around millionaires and billionaires all the time? People who are living in the top 1% of society, they have special occasions going on every day or every week. In fact, they have very busy schedules. In fact, a lot of them can't even go out and get their own oxtails. They would have somebody else do it.
Basically, what he likes to do is he takes out his phone when I look really good and he like films me all day and records me. So that's what he's been doing all day. And it's like I'll just be sitting down and he'll go, "Oh my god, you look stunning." Like it's almost like I notice people have this like breathtaking reaction. It's like, "Whoa." It's like you've never seen me before. Like he's acting like he's never seen me before and I've literally been here all day. That's how he's acting. It's like every time he looks at me, like if I'm gone for a while and I come back, it's like, OMG, you look really pretty. So yeah, I had everybody going crazy today. This is like my maybe third time wearing this eyeshadow look and every single time people go crazy.
Okay, notice how she says, I had everybody going crazy today, but she doesn't say who everybody is. Who are all these people that are going so crazy and fawning over her eyeshadow to the point where her husband is actually filming her every single day? By the way, why would a husband need to film his wife every single day doing random things around the house if that spouse is with you every single day? If your spouse sees you all the time and sees you glammed up all the time because he's a provider, right? And you guys live the lifestyles that millionaires and billionaires live, why would he even feel the need to record you? You guys are always together, right? So do you see the holes in the talking points already?
So I figured out my signature look and it is this one here. So I think it's the contrast that's really pretty. So it's light in the inner eye and then on the corners I do like a dark type of look. So yeah, I'm going to be doing this look as much as possible as long as it matches my outfits.
Outfits to go where? To get sushi or oxtails? Because for someone who claims to be living such a high life, that's all she's showing in her members page. It's just her going to get sushi, her going to get oxtails, and her going to Bath and Body Works. Do you think that sounds like the lifestyle of someone who's got a lot of glamorous things to do?
Yeah, I'll be in like the most wealthiest neighborhood with this eyeshadow look. And even then, no matter where I go, people treat me like a celebrity. I need you to.
Wait a minute. If you're saying you wear this eyeshadow look to the wealthiest neighborhoods, I thought you already lived in the wealthiest neighborhoods, seeing as you guys are millionaires and billionaires. So why would you even feel the need to qualify to your audience? Oh, hey, I wear this in the wealthiest neighborhoods. You guys already live there. That's your natural dwelling, right? You don't have to travel to go to the wealthy neighborhoods. You don't have to go anywhere because you are the wealthy, right? Isn't your biracial husband wealthy?
They stop me out of nowhere and compliment me and, just give me so much attention. Like, oh my God, like one girl stopped me in front of everybody and told me that I look beautiful and stunning. So I really do feel like this eyeshadow look, it gives me celebrity treatment no matter where I go. But today, if you look on my community tab, I had to actually go to like a more urban area because sometimes I get my stuff from there. Like I like ethnic food sometimes in urban areas or even the beauty supply store. I like urban beauty supply stores.
Okay, so let's talk about going to urban areas. Do you think that billionaires and multimillionaires go to urban areas themselves to purchase beauty supply items because they are cheaper? Or do you think that's more of a middle class habit? Because usually multimillionaires and billionaires and women who are so glammed up all the time and they've got all these events, they actually have assistants. You can actually hire someone on TaskRabbit to do your errands for you for about $40, by the way. So I find it interesting that she's, on the one hand, saying she's married to a wealthy biracial man and he's protecting and providing. But then she's saying, oh, actually, I have to go into the urban areas to do my shopping.
I'm sorry, I can't do the suburban beauty supply store. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And so sometimes I will have to go to the more urban area. And I was just joking on my community tab. Be careful if you need to make a beauty supply stop in urban areas with this eyeshadow look now, because Lord have mercy, the overstimulation from the pookies. Okay. You had freaking all these ninjas feigning for me. Lord have mercy, I was over freaking stimulated. Way overstimulated. It
Okay, so this beauty supply experience that she's describing, this is actually not just a typical urban beauty supply store. She's saying this is so urban to the point where you have pookies actually hanging out. So this is actually a dangerous area. This is actually a dangerous area. So what neighborhood do you think aligns more with, urban areas and a lot of quote unquote pookies, according to her words, standing outside of the beauty supply store? Do you think that Oakland, California aligns more with that? Or do you think that where the millionaires and billionaires are in California align with that? And also, if somebody's a millionaire or a billionaire, don't you think they would have some sort of security, or, maybe they would have people around them to protect them? Because obviously, if you're a billionaire, you have a lot of people targeting you, right?
was a lot going on. It was like 5 different dudes at every angle. And like that's nothing to brag about, because it's like, yeah,
Okay, wait a minute. She said there were 5 dudes at every angle. Okay, so let's pretend that we have a compass. There's north, south, east, and west. So that's 4 angles. 5 men at every angle, that would equate to 20 men. Okay, so you're telling me that you went to an urban beauty supply store and there were 20 pookies. So there were 20 men who were fiending for her. So that would be dangerous, especially if you have so much pretty privilege and you have money and you're so desirable. Usually that would actually be a very dangerous situation for a woman to be in, especially in an urban area with no protection, no biracial husband there. Also, why is she even going shopping alone? Shouldn't the biracial husband be the one taking her shopping, taking out his card? Oftentimes, you can't use other people's credit cards without like showing your ID. And especially if it's somebody that's a multimillionaire, like Blunt Girly claims the lifestyle that she's living. So she's now saying that she was around 20 pookies. She said there were 5 at every angle. Okay, so 4 angles, north, south, east, and west. So 20. And she still felt safe enough and she felt like she fit in enough. So she blended in enough in that community to be able to walk in without anybody like, grabbing her, trying to touch her or do anything to her. She felt safe enough in that area. Let me know, Exoticals. Would you go into an establishment if there were 20 pookies standing outside? So pookies at every angle, according to her own words. She said there were like 5 to 6 everywhere she turned. Would you feel safe? And I'm talking to middle class women here, because I don't claim to be rich. I'm a normal person. I'm a middle class person. I know that I wouldn't go into any establishment, grocery stores, convenience stores. I wouldn't go anywhere where there are 20 pookies. And then she says that they are quote fiending for her. I wouldn't go anywhere where there are some creepy, undesirable, low value men fiending for me. And I certainly wouldn't be flexing that and talking about how good my eyeshadow is on YouTube because 20 pookies were fiending over me. And also, she says that she was overstimulated. Being overstimulated by low quality men is definitely not anything that I'd brag about. But let's continue.
whatever. Like they're just thirsty like that. But I'm just giving you the example. It's like no matter where I go, even if I'm in like Manhattan, a very nice area, people still stop me and compliment me when I have this eyeshadow look on. And then I don't know if I mentioned it already, but like I said, I was recording a video today, and in the literal recording, a lady stopped me and complimented me.
Okay, so first it's Oakland, then it's the Bay Area, now it's Manhattan. Which one is it? And by the way, I am not saying that anonymous creators have to say where they live, but seeing as this particular creator seems to shape her identity around where she lives, and she has an advice channel, I'm just curious as to why the city keeps changing. So it's like, okay, she got caught saying that she's around millionaires and billionaires and white people, but then there was a recording of her saying that she's from Oakland, and now she's changing it and saying, oh, actually, no, Manhattan. But then she didn't even say that she lived in the Manhattan area. She says that she goes there. Okay, so that implies that she is not living in these nice, wealthy areas, according to her own talking points.
Sorry, girl. I'll just leave. You look pretty. Oh, thank you. Oh. So this one is the winner. This one is the winner. Okay, so I actually was talking to my man about my makeup look, and he just said what I just said. So go on, describe it. Describe the effect.
Well, the effect that it had is that when she got dressed and put on makeup on, and then when I first seen her before she left the house.
Wait a minute. Oh my God, I'm going to hell for laughing. Wait. So she actually says that her boo or her husband, her boo turned husband. This is the biracial high value multimillionaire who's speaking. So he said, quote, when she first put on her makeup on. Okay, that's not even correct English. So you're telling me that multimillionaires and billionaires with a B, that they don't know how to speak proper English or form a sentence or to even be on a recording. Most millionaires and billionaires are public figures, right? CEOs, owners of large businesses, you're at the head of the boardroom, you're speaking a lot. So, I've never met a multimillionaire or billionaire who doesn't even know how to form a sentence.
I said, "Damn, you look good." And then when she went out and came back in the first time from getting the oxtails, it was like I was just seeing her again for the first time, yes. And I thought it was just me. But then when she went out to record a video and then came back in the second time again, I was like, "Damn, you look."
Wait a minute. I'm curious as to why, if there are multimillionaires and billionaires, why would she have to leave where they live in order to record? If you are living in a large mansion, or you got your own studio set up, you can go into your walk-in closet, you can go somewhere in a quiet room inside, why would there even be a need to go outside to record videos, seeing as it's a quiet and luxurious environment where you live?
Great. Yes. But I don't know. I didn't know why I kept having this effect that made it seem like I was just seeing it for the first time, even though I've seen it 3 times today. So that smoky eye is something else. That's what it's called. I think that's what she said before. I think before she said it was called smoky eye, but I'm not sure. I guess y'all look at the picture and tell me.
Also, I find it interesting that YouTuber Blunt Girly, instead of having her husband, who she claims is a high value man, instead of having him come on and maybe talk with the women and talk about their relationship and like how to be successful in relationships like them, and how he became a multimillionaire and where these women can go to attract these multimillionaire and billionaire biracial men, instead of her bringing him on to actually help her audience to attain such a high value, high quality man, no, she would rather bring him on to say that smoky eyes look pretty on her.
I literally just said that. I noticed that he had this like shock, like this shock reaction, like you hadn't seen me before. Every time I go away and come back.
She said somebody in the hall. She was telling me when she went out earlier and came back in for the last time that while she was recording, somebody walked past her and complimented her and said she's pretty. It was a woman that said she was pretty.
Yeah, I just noticed that everybody has this like shocked reaction. I get hella compliments, like walking down the street, "Oh, you are fine." And
I didn't know that that's what that was causing that. I didn't know that. I guess so, from what you're saying, because there is.
Okay, so her own multimillionaire biracial high value husband said he didn't know that it was the smoky eye that was causing her to look pretty. So that implies that he doesn't see her in this makeup look very often. But seeing as you guys are multimillionaires and billionaires, I'm not sure why you wouldn't see your rich wife in makeup, since you guys are going to so many fancy and high quality places. Have you guys ever seen or heard of multimillionaires and billionaires that never see their wives in makeup? or millionaires and billionaires that never really even take their wives out. And so there's no need for the woman to wear makeup, because she's just sitting in the house all day or ranting and yelling at 2 and 3 a.m. As a matter of fact, I'm curious as to why her high value biracial husband did not come to comfort her when she was creating live streams about the Exoticals at 3 a.m. Seeing as she has to go outside just to have a quiet setting to record a video, if she was recording those live streams inside of her living space, that would actually imply that he was most likely not there. So why would her high value biracial multimillionaire husband, why would he not be home at 3 a.m.? Why would he not be home during the nighttime? Why would he not be home all day long? And if he was home, why would he not comfort her? And why does she have to go outside of her living quarters just to record simple videos? Usually people don't do that behavior unless they're living in extreme poverty, or maybe they're living in, with roommates or something, or they've got loud people, or maybe the husband is doing something and like you'll be able to hear it in the background. I've never heard of multi-millionaires and billionaires living that type of lifestyle, but hey, they're not a monolith, so I could be wrong.
There's a big difference when you have that on. It's just
Oh, so now the husband is actually exposing her. He's saying there's a big difference when you have on the eyeshadow versus off. So Blunt Girly is saying, oh, I got so many compliments. People are saying how pretty I am. But the husband is saying, oh, there's a big difference when you have the eyeshadow on versus off. So if there's a big difference and she's only receiving the pretty compliments with the eyeshadow on, what does that say about her appearance when the eyeshadow is off? I'll let you guys decide, but let's continue.
it's like it just screams different. Like I don't know how to explain it. It just really stands out about you. It like makes the beauty in your face and the way you do your makeup really, really stand out even more. Yeah, it does something to me. Even it does something to me for sure.
I think it's the contrast that makes my eyes look really pretty. It's the dark on the corners and light in the middle. It creates this illusion.
Yes. It like I guess women are more able to explain this kind of effect better than a man can, but it just really brings out the beauty. It brings out the allure in her eyes. It's very, very nice.
Hey. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we were just having a conversation. Like I always tell him about my videos. And we literally finish each other's sentences. Like,
I find it interesting that she keeps referring to him as him or him and I, or we just do this, or whenever I talk to him about this. Usually, if somebody is married and they're super proud to be married, and maybe they're newlyweds, and especially if someone is like multimillionaire and they're high value, like in the case of Blunt Girly with her husband, usually she will make sure to announce, especially to her members who are paying extra money, she would make sure to announce, hey, just so you know, for any new members, this is my husband. I'm proud to be called this man's wife. But notice how when he is right next to her, she's not even referring to him as her husband in front of her own members who are paying extra to see this content. Have you ever heard of a woman who's married who is not proud to show off her spouse, especially if that spouse is a multimillionaire or around billionaires and he's attractive too, and he's a prize basically? I've never heard of women who are ashamed of a spouse like that. I've only heard of women being ashamed to call a guy their husband when he's either not their husband or when he's a dusty.
he is my soul to the mate. It's like I was telling him, I was like, he was describing the effect that my makeup had on him or whatever. And I was like, I literally just said that in the recording. I said.
So it's interesting how she's bragging about him being her soulmate, but she doesn't say anything to brag about him being her husband. And by the way, he has left the room. It sounds like he has left the room at this point in the video. But notice how she doesn't say, oh my God, he's my soulmate. I'm so proud to be his wife. I'm so glad that he's my husband. Oh my God, I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with him. I'm so glad we got married. We've been going strong for 10 years. Has Blunt Girly ever talked about any of her wedding anniversaries? How many years has she been married since she is an advice channel in terms of relationships? Notice how she hasn't talked about that. Hey, I've been married for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. And also in regards to her age, some of you guys were saying she's 22. I don't remember her being 22, but if she is, isn't that interesting? So you're telling me that a 22-year-old or just a woman in her 20s, you're telling me that a woman in her 20s is bagging a wonderful, attractive, tall, handsome, biracial, multimillionaire or billionaire. She's able to do that in her 20s, which would be very impressive in the hypergamy community, but she does not talk about it. She doesn't come on and say, hey, this is my husband, or, I'm so proud to be with him. No, she's actually bragging about him right here. She's complimenting him. She's saying, oh, he's such a soulmate of mine, but she doesn't say, this man is my husband, and I'm so proud to be his wife.
Said it was almost like he kept getting shocked every time he looked at me. And he was filming me all day. Like every time I look really good, he does that. He's like, oh, hold on, stand by the door. Let me take a picture of you.
Okay, so she said every time she looks really good, he starts filming her around the house and taking pictures of her. But if you're a multimillionaire or billionaire, and especially if you have so much pretty privilege to the point of being a model, wouldn't your high value spouse want to take pictures of you every day? Why would it just be a rare occasion, seeing as you have pretty privilege all the time, right?
Like, what the heck? But it's super cute. It's super cute. All right, all right, all right. I'm putting y'all on game. Try it out. Okay, I am a chocolate girl. I think that's also what creates the allure.
So she's talking about being a chocolate girl and how it creates allure, but she couldn't find not one photo of a chocolate girl on Google Images with this same makeup look. There are chocolate women who do smoky eyes and winged eyeliner every single day, but she chose this photo to represent the beauty of her makeup look. She doesn't even look like the woman in this photo.
But I actually got this look though. I got it from, like I said, pictures of women in the early 2000s. So I think it was like Cassie had it on and Rihanna, and they just looked really pretty.
And notice how she's referencing Exoticals as her beauty standard again. She's saying that she got the idea from Cassie and Rihanna. So, do you see why I said that it could be potential envy that Blunt Girly could have towards myself and the other Exoticals who she was doxing on her channel? By the way, doxing does actually go against the YouTube community guidelines.
So yeah, bye y'all. Try this makeup look, girl. I'm trying to tell you.
What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.